Well, everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to Wasteland Talks, my weekly talk show where I talk about whatever the hell I want or what my guest wants. And here we are doing a classic review, and I'm joined by my buddy Adam. Adam, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Good to see you again.
Absolutely. And we are here to talk about Only Angels Have Wings, and this is a Howard Hawks directed film starring Cary Grant, Jean Arthur, Rita Hayworth. So quite a few big names, even Thomas Mitchell thrown in there because I swear if he wasn't in a movie in late 1930s and early 40s, I don't know if it's a film. Based off of that, he makes his way around. But Adam, I guess what are some of your general thoughts on the film?
General thoughts on Only Angels. Well, firstly, that this was my second watch, and I bumped it up half a star. Like it's a really fantastic film. It's Need to bear in mind it's made in 1939. Some of the special effects are still really impressive for 1939. It's some amazing shots, especially when the planes are flying for real. There's one.
Hmm.
Um, we'll probably go into detail about it a bit more later, but just keeping it to general thoughts, it's a really great film. It's really fun. Probably some of the best you'll, so probably one of Cary Grant's best performances. It's
Hmm.
very not non-Cary Granty, but very different to what you would very against his stereotype, I guess you would
Hmm.
say. The character he's playing. Um, it's Look, it's just a really great film, I think, honestly, and bears up to rewatches. Howard Hawks was doing a lot of experimenting and creating, doing really good work. So there's just some detail in my head that I think we'll talk about later.
Hmm. I know this is one of the few Howard Hawks films that I've seen up to this point. I haven't seen any of his like famous westerns. And like if you go on
Ah,
IMDb, like most of his main four films that you see are all westerns. Rio Bravo and Red River, stuff like that. But like seeing Disco Friday and this this film surprised me in terms of like you mentioned, like the effects and like the action of it. I did not
mm,
expect to see like the special effects that you would have in that. Like this was from 1939. Like it's
yeah,
really impressive in what they are able to do. And there's
yeah,
some big impactful moments involving these planes that kind of take you aback a
yeah,
bit. And
yeah,
like it has some serious weight to the dangers of what they're doing with these planes and
yes,
everything. And this film certainly has that sense of adventure and thrill to it. But of course, it's a film of 1939. It definitely is going to have some kind of romance at the center. And like, yeah, Cary Grant's fantastic. Ranging from, I've obviously seen like North by Northwest and Let's Go Friday and stuff like that. And this, I thought, like you said, he gives a fantastic performance in this film.
he's really good.
I'm a big Gene Arthur fan from Shane, my namesake. Which yes, I was indeed named after the Western Shane.
Yeah, right.
So,
Did not know that.
yep. And boy, did she want Shane.
Didn't, yeah.
uh, she sure.
Well, oh, okay, sorry. Yep. I've not seen Shane. I've not seen it, so
Oh,
that's on me.
I I was worried going in thinking like, oh, this is just some old school like traditional Western. It's not. It has some interesting edge to it, but Jean Arthur is great in this too. I really like the chemistry that she has with Cary Grant. Like
Mm,
obviously you have other like Rita Hayworth is like legendary gorgeous actress popping
yep.
up in things. And like if you seriously need an entertaining, engaging, supporting character in a movie, and it's the 30s or 40s, you get Thomas Mitchell. So that's what he
Yeah.
does.
Oh,
And
he's fantastic in this. He's great.
he's slowly becoming like I'm personally much more of like a character actor kind of fan. I love being in like my one of my favorite actors is John Goodman. And like he's like a Swiss
Mm,
Army knife
yep.
of being able to throw into any movie and make it
Yeah,
better.
good choice.
And Thomas Mitchell definitely is like that kind of character actor that whether it's Stagecoach, whether it's we just recorded tonight with A Long Voyage Home, or even It's a Wonderful Life. He pops up into things and like makes an impact, does really great work, and there's a reason he's such a beloved actor from this time period.
Mm.
And when you have such a thrilling, dangerous kind of story, you got that romance, you have a strong cast to really anchor this, and Howard Hawks behind the camera, really making the most out of it. This is a really great film that I blew me away. I was really impressed by.
Yeah, excellent. I love when I give you recommends and you enjoy them. Well, I think you do for the most part. But yeah, I'm glad you're really
You
high
have
on
good
this.
taste, Adam, and I appreciate it.
I do, well, to some people, other people I give recommends, like my general, especially work colleagues, I give recommends, and I'm like, yeah, that like they didn't like movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once. They don't
Oh,
like
or they
Killers of the Flower
ignore
Moon,
me
and
and don't love a
yeah,
whole
they're
bunch of
just
movies.
casual moviegoers who like Fast and the Furious and stupid shit like that. Like Christopher Nolan, like just terrible. Don't know anything. Don't know anything about cinema. Yeah, so I guess a bit more on this. Howard Hawks actually, because I had the criterion of this. I just brought it
Nice.
completely blind because I love Howard Hawks. Howard Hawks is one of my favourite past directors. Between him and Billy Wilder, William Wyler, George Cukor, like I love those
Mhm.
guys. Certainly getting the John Ford, obviously, from doing this series, but
Yep.
um, there's a sorry, just back on the Criterion. He's actually like a 90-minute clip where Peter Bogdanovich is interviewing Howard Hawks, and this is actually based on a lot of his real story. He was a pilot, Howard Hawks, and he grew up around this stuff. And so, yeah, what struck me the most is the themes of this movie is the bravado of these and the early technology of these flyers. Like
Mhm.
these planes were flimsy, and they were doing some dangerous stuff. And these, what we haven't mentioned, is through this mountain pass in South America called Barranca, which I think
Mhm.
is a real place in Brazil. I think. So yeah, these guys were flying under pressure in the hopes of getting this mail contract. So through bad weather, through bad fog and smoke, where they couldn't see anything, they were sending people out to fly. People died. Howard Hawks, yeah, experienced a lot of this, so he wanted to make a film about it. I think his brother had something to do. His brother used to direct stuff as well,
Mhm.
and they yeah, he just ended up making this from all of his life experiences and made something really great, like um, just about the brotherhood of this little tight knit community that basically lived in this bar to fly product in and out of town. And yeah, it's a gutsy movie, I think. In 1939, super impressive.
It's one of those kinds of films where it has that old school classic kind of like, this feels like a motion picture kind of thing, where it's just like we're taking you to like this exotic place. It's a outward trading post. Like, this just sounds like a movie that would come out at this time, and it has
Mm,
that sense of wonder and adventure about it.
yeah,
And I feel like movies lack that kind of feel anymore, because like not a lot of things
yeah.
feel magical anymore when it comes to movies, but like this feels like
No,
we're
because we've
gonna
seen it all.
whisk you away to a place that you probably never imagined. And like even
Mm,
John Ford had a film about uh like an outpost with like pilots and stuff like that. I'm like, this seems like that kind of, this is a much better film than that. um Not that that was a bad one, but like this had a lot of elements that really elevated from like the actors and the special effects and everything. But it's just one of those kinds of like old classic kind of adventure concepts that like we don't get a ton of just straight up adventure films anymore.
no,
Like,
no,
I feel
we
like one of the
don't.
last ones was The Mummy in like 1999, where it just feel like this feels like an old school adventure that you're going to get whisked away. There's a sense of danger in the air. There's a sense of adventure, but we're all gung ho about it. And we're going to have some fun.
It's that's this film is a vibe. It is a cozy film to watch because it is restrained into basically one location. And like you said, there's a lot of adventure and a lot of the wonder more than the adventure because, like I said before, it is early days of flying where I mean, Jean Arthur's character herself, she kind of is us as the audience. She's coming into this unknown world
Mhm.
and just experiencing all this stuff for the first time, and not understanding the brotherhood of these pilots. And spoilers, when early on someone dies, these guys just carry on with their life pretty much instantly, because if they don't, then they're just going to wallow in the fear of what can actually happen to them as well. So they've just got to have a drink, have their steak, and move on. And she finds that really upsetting because, hey, why don't you mourn this guy? Where they are mourning, but they have to mourn in a different way, so they don't get buried
Well,
emotionally.
and it's like the same kind of idea of like films like The Perfect Storm or things where it's just like these men know what they're doing is dangerous, but who else is going to do it?
That's exactly
And
right. Exactly right.
it's
They know what
like
they're in for.
they have this duty, and there is that like I'm going to have a drink, pour one out for our friend, and get our ass back in that cockpit and get the job done. And it's that kind of it's like a toughness of these characters that's interesting to see, but also being able to balance like, yeah, they've lost a friend. They've lost people. They have to, they can't sit there and like let it all out in that moment, but you see that
Mm,
in these characters and you see it in the layers of the performances. And,
yep.
you know, this feels like a very different kind of Cary Grant performance because like a lot of early stuff that I've seen of him is like, fast talking kind of
Yep.
it's like how
Yeah.
many words can he possibly say in a minute? And then, North by Northwest is like older, suave, just kind of like kind of character. And here it's like this is something different. And I appreciated what he brought to this character. Like obviously there's still layers of like he's a handsome leading man kind of character in a film, but like he's a bit tough. He's a tough
Yeah.
dude. And to be honest, it's interesting thinking about the other Cary Grant performance. Like you don't really see him as like a tough dude. He's usually
No,
like a
never.
fast talking, suave kind of guy. Maybe
Charming ladies man.
maybe like a charming grifter of some sort, just coming in there trying to get something. It's like I appreciate when you can see actors branching out into some different kinds of roles. And sure, this isn't one of the roles that people are like, tell me a Cary Grant role. I don't think Only Angels Have Wings is probably going to come up. It's going to be,
No, it
maybe His
won't.
Girl Friday, North by Northwest. But like, I've like along with what you said, I wish that more people would appreciate the performance he gave.
I think if honestly, I think more people. I wish more people would appreciate just Howard Hawks in general as a director. He's probably, I would say, maybe the Christopher Nolan of his time. Like he made some stunning movies.
Mm-hmm.
He made some ordinary ones too. The later he got into his career, actually, Quentin Tarantino cites him specifically as why he wants to stop at 10 movies, because he doesn't want us to keep making movies until he can't make movies, because some of his later ones are pretty ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, just in general, yeah. I mean, I don't even know where I was going with that, to be honest. But Howard Hawks is he created the original Scarface. He created so much stuff that modern directors wouldn't have a clue what they're doing without Howard Hawks coming along. And Only Angels Have Wings is um, a really good view into that, and into what he's done for this. I just want to talk. There's one shot in here. Look, there's one shot where, because we have a character come in who's kind of a nefarious pilot too, which we haven't talked about, because he did something. Basically, he abandoned his co-pilot, his mechanic on a plane, and parachuted while the other guy died. So he's hated, and happened to be one of the characters, one of the guys already there's brother who
Mm-hmm.
he did that to. Of course, there's some redemption along the way, and a really emotional redemption. It's yeah, quite deep. The shot I was talking about. So this guy actually has to fly to pick up someone. They're injured in I think it's a house fire or something, but he has to fly to this plateau. It's really dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
into this above this canyon. But the shot following this plane landing and taking off in this is some of the. I don't know if you paid much attention to it, Shane, at the time, but if you go back and watch that again, it is a miraculous piece of work for 1939 cinema. It is one of the best shots. Top Gun Maverick came out a couple of years ago. There's not a shot better in that movie than this one shot in Only Angels Have Wings, I think. Um, Even though that was all practically done, this shot has them just left for dead. Like, it's just superb. Yeah. Do you recall the scene I'm talking about?
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like, how do you make a lot of these kinds of things work in a time where it's like, this is 1939. This is not like, we're not,
They had big cameras,
yeah,
film, and like there's a lot at stake.
like they're big, clunky, they're not very movable cameras, and being able to make those kinds of things work, and why so many films relied upon like models and stuff like that to be able to make scenes like
Yeah,
this happen. Because like there that John Ford film I was mentioning, they have a shot trying to land in like this very narrow place to be able to save somebody, and like how they make it all work with the model and the camera angles and stuff like that. It's so impressive looking at films from this era and just being like, the special filmmakers find a way to make you forget that you're watching, like you might be watching models or something like that, to be able to make something work really well, or you're able to figure out the right camera angle to really pull the audience in. And like there's
yeah,
some big impactful moments in this that like hit hard, and there's that danger about what they're doing, and there's consequences. This film, like
yeah, absolutely.
the kids doesn't come out unscathed by the end of this film in terms of what's happening, and it's just such so beautifully shot. I was just looking through some of the stills on IMDb, and it's such
Mm,
crisp
mm.
black and white, and this is just
It'd
such
be great
beautiful
4K.
cinematography.
Yeah, this would be look great in 4K. Honestly, it'd be. I'd love to see a 4K. This would probably be something I'd upgrade. Um,
Well, you heard us,
Even though this,
Criterion. Make sure to work on it.
no, they like to do that. They like to double dip themselves, don't they? Criterion.
Well, yeah, now they're
But in
slowly
saying that,
pulling out all the 4Ks now, and you're like, yeah, you're going to do
yeah,
revises.
of previously released movies, yeah. Look, but in saying that, the Blu-ray of this is awesome as well. Like, it's like we said, we don't. I'm not going to say it's a good looking movie if the Blu-ray doesn't even look good. But a 4K would just bring out those blacks and grays a bit better. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
if they did it like the Maltese Falcon transfer of 4K, not sure if you've seen that, but that's an incredible 4K to see. Like, it really is.
I am.
I'd like to see it.
I have it somewhere down there.
You have it?
Uh, I wound up buying it to. I was doing a little bit of a noir series with my brother, and I'm like, well,
Mm,
might as well buy it. And I'm like, wow, this looks crisp and beautiful. But yeah, this was a film that I was really impressed by the cast, really impressed by the filmmaking, and it's
mm.
an exciting and thrilling kind of story that has weight and impact to it, and it just has that perfect recipe to deliver such an engaging and interesting film.
Yep, 100%. I won't say it's perfect, but it's very close to it, I think. Especially on the rewatch. Yeah, it's movies need a few chances at times, but sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down. This one definitely went up. It's especially when I guess, because second time around get the themes a bit more. So this one is about, uh, um, you know, there's a code of honor that is a
Mhm.
through line throughout this, especially obviously amongst the pilots, but it's also a code of honor amongst the relationships between men and women because of
Mhm.
Cary and June Russell's characters together, and like she hates him at first, as you just like it's not a rom com, but it has those rom com tropes. Like
Yeah.
she hates him at first because he's an arrogant a hole. He's pretty mean to the pilots, to the staff, and but she kind of begins to slowly see what kind of guy he actually is, and obviously
Mhm.
falls in love and blah blah blah. It's also a very funny film. We haven't mentioned the humor in this. It's quite good, and there's some great one-liners in here, like typical Howard Hawks style throwaway one line, just funny stuff that if you blink and you miss it type of stuff. Um, yeah, definitely a peak Howard Hawks for me.
Yeah, it definitely was amongst the ones that I've seen. It's like there's that, and they're all around from the same time period. Like he was doing some peak work, and I guess that was
Absolutely, yeah,
towards the point
he
that
was.
you were doing. Like he had such an amazing peak as a director, and yeah, not everybody's able to continue to make really great films all the way up until the end. Like there's not many Scorsese's who's just out there at like well into his 80s still making like big
Yeah,
sprawling epics, and it's just like, look at
yeah,
this man, keep going. But
that's
Howard
crazy,
Hawks
isn't it?
yeah, definitely still had such a great peak in terms of film, made some great legendary films. And you're right, he has such a great sense of wit and what he's able to
Yes,
inject into his films. And he's definitely one like I would certainly not mind highlighting Howard Hawks on Welcome to the
yeah,
Wasteland, because I think it would be a really interesting journey through his filmography. And this was probably the first one that I've watched that I hadn't heard of. So like I wasn't aware of this
okay,
film before you recommended it, but like I had heard of Bringing Up Baby. I had heard about like His Girl Friday and stuff like that before I watched them.
yeah,
But this one, I'm very much looking forward to rewatching. I think I rented this on Amazon. That's where I wound up
okay.
watching it. So it'd be
I
nice to get the criterion of it,
definitely
and
next time Criterion have a sale. Yeah,
it's on the list.
definitely recommend
The
it.
ever growing list to make this ever growing collection keep getting bigger. So
I would recommend any Howard Hawks you see on Criterion, grab it because they curate him very well. I've got the Bringing Up Baby Criterion as well, and that's just one of the funniest movies of all time.
yep,
Um,
I had that one too.
I do, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's so good. And I think I also have His Girl Friday on Criterion. I know I have it, but I
I
think
think
it
I
is
did buy that,
Criterion.
and I'm pretty sure it has front page. Like
Yes, it
the
does.
of the
Yeah,
original one. Actually,
yeah,
just watch the Billy Wilder version of that
yes.
as
I
well.
still need to see that. Yeah,
Thank you, Patrice,
Jack Lemmon.
friend of the show, uh, for
Yep.
recommending that for me to take a look at. So, but
Yeah, yeah.
Adam,
Sorry, no, you go, you go.
there you go ahead.
I was just going to say it's Billy Wilder and Jack Lemmon. Like they're two of my wheelhouse people from back in the
Mhm.
day. So that's a movie, and Walter Matthau too, right? So obviously you need to see that.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. And Billy Wilder's
it's
probably
good,
like of
isn't it?
those directors that you were mentioning earlier, like Billy Wilder's definitely the one that really stands out to me. Just incredible
Absolutely.
filmmaker. Wouldn't mind highlighting him either. Look at all these so many directors, so little time, especially when I'm spending 80 weeks on job board. But Adam, thank you as always for great recommendations and coming on and chatting some classic films with me.
Yeah, a pleasure. We'll hope to do it again real soon. I'll think of something else for us.
There you go. And thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Weight Slam reviewer.